Alamo.alikum. Welcome back to our channel, Digital Future AI School. Kindly subscribe our channel, like and share with friends, and this is the episode 19 of book Your Smartness Partner in Life and Work, written by Mr. Zahir Ahmad Mir. Welcome back to the deep dive. So we spent a lot of time talking about how AI is changing jobs, changing industries, but today we're going a layer deeper. We're looking at maybe the ultimate frontier.
The mind itself.
The mind itself, exactly. We're going to be exploring the evidence that AI isn't just a tool we use like a calculator or a word processor, but it's becoming a fundamental, a cognitive partner, something that is actively reshaping how we think, learn, and even how we make decisions. This is, I think, where the real future of human intelligence is being forged. Okay, let's unpack this. How AI is becoming our second brain.
And that really is the mission for this deep dive. The material we're drawing from, especially Mr. Mir's work, it all points to something much bigger than just tech adoption. It suggests, well, a kind of biological and psychological evolution happening in real time.
And evolution, that's a strong word.
It is. So our goal today is to get past the flashy features. You know, we need to really explore the specific ways AI is acting as that partner. What does it mean for something as basic as memory? Or creativity. And maybe the most important part, how do we manage the risks? Because this kind of change, it's profound and it's not without its dangers.
Right, the risk of overdependence, we'll definitely get to that. But I think before we can even get to the benefits, we have to start with maybe an uncomfortable truth about ourselves.
The baseline.
The baseline, yes. The reason we even need a cognitive partner is that our biological brain, you know, for all its brilliance, has some very real, very hard limits. Limits that AI just doesn't have.
And we often forget that. We operate within these biological boundaries every single day without thinking about it. Let's just start with memory. You know, your short-term memory, the stuff you're juggling for a task right now, research has shown for decades it can hold about, 7 pieces of information, plus or minus 2. It's tiny. We are constantly forgetting things.
Oh, all the time. Where I put my keys, a name I just heard.
Exactly. And our long-term memory is fallible. It's selective. It can even be corrupted over time. It's just not a perfect recording device.
And it's not just storage, it's speed.
Yeah.
Right? Our processing speed feels fast for, catching a ball or something. But when you try to read, say, a 500-page legal document.
Or analyze a decade of financial data.
It's agonizingly slow. It takes us hours, days, even weeks. A processor can do that. How fast?
In seconds. And it doesn't get tired. That's the other thing. Cognitive fatigue. Our ability to really concentrate, to use that prefrontal cortex for deep, abstract thought, it just degrades. It runs out of energy.
You hit that wall. We've all been there staring at a screen after a few hours.
And then you add in the modern world's 2 biggest enemies of clear thought. First, constant, overwhelming distraction from every device around us.
And second, maybe the more insidious one, our own emotional bias.
Precisely. We are not objective creatures. We're prone to confirmation bias, anchoring effects. We see what we want to see. And all of this is capped by a slow learning curve. Truly mastering a new, complex skill takes years.
So when you stack all of that up, our flawed memory, slow speed, fatigue, bias, and you put it next to what AI offers, the partnership starts to feel less like a choice and more like an inevitability.
It becomes a necessity for progress.
And that's this concept of the extension of the mind, where we are limited. The AI is, for all practical purposes, limitless. It offers perfect recall.
Not just of facts, but of context, and truly unlimited memory that doesn't degrade. It's the perfect counterpoint to our biological flaws. The processing is basically instant. It can handle 1,000 complex things at once while we struggle with one.
And it never gets tired. It offers tireless concentration 24/7 with 0 drop in performance.
And can see things we can't. It's built for deep pattern recognition across enormous data sets that would take a human a lifetime to even read, let alone analyze.
Pulling insights from all over the globe in different languages.
Right. And if it's trained on good data, the output is characterized by a kind of unbiased logic. It's free from all that emotional baggage and the cognitive shortcuts that constantly trip us up.
So this really sets up a kind of functional relationship, doesn't it? The AI isn't competing with us on our terms. It's a digital companion that's just amplifying our own abilities.
It's an extension. It's taking on the computational and the archival work, the heavy lifting, so that the human mind can be freed up to do what only it can do.
Which is?
Synthesis, asking why, finding meaning, high-level strategy, the things that require consciousness.
Okay, so let's get practical. This is where the deep dive, I think, gets really exciting. The source material lays out 5 specific ways This partnership is upgrading human thinking. And let's start with the one that feels most immediate, the acceleration of learning.
This is a fundamental change in how we get information into our heads. An AI tutor isn't just a textbook on a screen. It personalizes the entire teaching
It
process.
customizes the pedagogy, as the book says.
Exactly. It breaks down these incredibly complex ideas into simple, accessible steps that are built just for your learning style, your current level of understanding, your pace.
So it completely collapses the time it takes to learn something difficult. I'm thinking of things like learning to code or advanced math.
Or navigating a really specialized legal framework or a complex scientific theory. In the past, you had a book, a lecture, and you just had to go through it from page one to the end, right?
Rest linearly.
Now, the AI can see in real time where your specific knowledge gaps are. If you're struggling with one concept in geometry, it will just keep feeding you different examples, different analogies for that one thing until you get it.
And if you're good at something, it doesn't hold you back.
No, it pushes you straight to the advanced stuff. That feedback loop just cuts out so much wasted time and, frankly, so much frustration.
I was fascinated by the range of examples in the book. It wasn't just, STEM fields. It mentioned business strategies, history, even something as specific and culturally rich as Quranic Arabic.
And that's a perfect example. Think about learning a language like that. The AI can assess your pronunciation, your grammar, your vocabulary instantly. It gives you immediate correction and contextual reinforcement. A single human teacher, no matter how good, just can't provide that level of personalized feedback at scale.
So learning moves from being this passive thing sitting in a lecture to something that's super interactive and effective.
You go from drinking from a fire hose to getting the perfect measured dose of knowledge exactly when and how you need it.
Okay, so from learning, let's move to something more abstract. The second major benefit, the expansion of creativity. This one feels a little counterintuitive. A lot of people see AI as a threat to human originality.
And the evidence really points in the opposite direction. The way to think about it is that AI acts as the ultimate friction remover for the creative process.
Friction remover, what do you mean?
Well, every creative person, a writer, a musician, an engineer, they all know the feeling of hitting a block.
The blank page.
The blank page. The inability to see the next step. The lack of a new idea. Or just the enormous effort it takes to build a prototype and try something out.
And the AI just steps into that gap.
It steps right in. It can generate a dozen initial concepts. It can offer you new artistic styles to play with. For a writer, it can suggest 3 or 4 plot twists you never would have thought of. For a designer, it can create a rapid prototype in minutes that used to take a design firm weeks.
The mechanism behind this is what I find so interesting. It's not that the AI is thinking of something original. It's about its ability to navigate, what was the term? The latent space.
Yes, the latent space. That's the key concept. You can think of it as this enormous invisible ocean of all possible ideas and variations on a theme. A human creator, might be able to explore 10, maybe 20 different paths.
Right.
The AI can explore 10,000 paths in that latent space almost instantly. And it brings back these surprising novel combinations that a human brain, with its built-in biases and patterns, just wouldn't have naturally found.
So our role changes. The human creator becomes less of a laborer and more of a director.
An artistic director, a master prompt engineer. You set the vision, you define the direction, and you curate the best options that the AI brings back from its exploration. It encourages radical experimentation.
Because the cost of trying something new and failing is basically zero.
Exactly. You can test 100 variations of a design in the time it used to take to sketch out one. And that speed, that ability to iterate so quickly, leads us right to the third key benefit.
Which is improvement in our decision-making.
A quantifiable improvement. When you let the machine handle the analysis, the final human choice becomes so much clearer and more logical.
But hold on, isn't there a risk there? If you outsource the analysis, do you lose the skill of spotting a flaw yourself? Of, having that gut feeling that the data the AI is showing you is missing something?
That's a fantastic point, and it's a risk we absolutely have to manage. The improvement isn't about outsourcing the final choice. It's about outsourcing the complexity before you make the choice.
Okay, so it's a filter.
A powerful filter. The AI helps you analyze these incredibly complex scenarios with dozens of variables. It processes all the inputs, it compares all the options side by side.
It builds the spreadsheet from hell for you, basically.
A spreadsheet that also assesses risk, predicts probable outcomes, and most importantly, can help identify your own blind spots.
Our cognitive biases.
Your cognitive biases, your emotional attachments, a crucial piece of data you overlooked because you were too close to the problem, it lays everything out objectively so that your final human decision is based on a much more complete and logical picture, not just a gut feeling.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's move to the fourth area, memory extension. We touched on this, but it's more than just storing files. This is AI as a perfect contextual archive.
Right. We have to get past the idea of it being just a digital diary or a simple notebook. AI remembers everything, every conversation, every document you read, every idea you had on a project 3 years ago, and it doesn't just store it, it understands it.
You're talking about things like vector databases and semantic search, not just keyword searching.
Precisely. This is the big leap. You don't have to remember the exact phrase you used in a meeting back in 2021. You can ask the AI a conceptual question like, what were our main concerns about the marketing budget 2 years ago?
And it understands the meaning of the question.
It understands the meaning, and it searches your entire personal archive for the most contextually relevant information. It's like having a flawless personal assistant with a perfect memory of your entire professional life.
And the real significance of that, as the book points out, is that it frees up so much cognitive space. If your brain doesn't have to constantly work to remember dates, names, and old project details.
That mental energy gets repurposed. It's now available for higher-level strategic thinking, for reflection, for creativity. Your brain shifts from being a file cabinet to being a pure synthesis engine.
Which flows perfectly into the fifth and final enhancement, cognitive offloading.
This is a bit different from just memory. This is about automating the mental labor itself.
Of actual thinking tasks.
Yes, the routine but mentally demanding tasks. Things like complex calculations, managing a multi-stage schedule with lots of dependencies, drafting routine emails or reports, summarizing 100 pages of research.
All the stuff that takes up so much of our executive function during the day.
Exactly. And every time you switch from one of those little tasks back to your main project, you pay a mental tax, a cognitive switching cost. It breaks your flow.
So cognitive offloading is about giving all of that to the AI.
Reliably. So your human mind can stay in that deep state of focus. Your brain's resources are maximized for what they're best at: creativity, ethical judgment, and true strategic innovation. You're optimizing your own intelligence for maximum value.
So these 5 things: accelerated learning, expanded creativity, better decisions, memory extension, and cognitive offloading. This isn't some far-off future. This is happening now.
Right.
And it has huge implications for the next generation.
Colossal implications. A child born today is growing up with this cognitive partner as a normal, ever-present part of their world. It's going to fundamentally change their entire relationship with knowledge.
It changes what it even means to be smart or educated.
It does. These kids are developing a whole new set of skills. They're learning to ask better, more nuanced questions because the simple factual answers are just instant, they're available.
So the value isn't in knowing the answer, it's in asking the right question.
Precisely. And they'll learn faster and think more logically because the AI can give them that immediate structured feedback. The whole focus shifts away from rote memorization. Why memorize the periodic table when you have instant access to it?
The focus becomes understanding the principles behind the table.
Understanding, synthesis, application. They become self-directed, independent learners at a much younger age because the barrier to entry for any topic is gone. If a 10-year-old is curious about quantum physics,
The AI can explain it to them at a 10-year-old's level.
exactly where they are. But, and this is a huge but, this accelerated growth has to be managed very, very carefully by parents and teachers.
The source material was very clear on the pitfalls here.
Oh, yes. The biggest risk is overdependence. If every time a child faces a difficult math problem or has to write a summary of a history chapter, the AI just does it for them.
They don't build the mental muscle.
They develop what you could call a grit deficit. They might have less patience for the slow, frustrating process of real learning. Their own innate problem-solving skills could actually weaken. They'll know the what, but not the how.
So the responsibility on parents and teachers is massive. You have to teach them to use it as a tool, an enhancer, not a crutch.
You have to consciously build friction back into the learning process. Make them solve the problem manually first. Make them understand the underlying logic before they turn to the AI for help. It's a delicate balance between augmentation and reliance.
And that balance brings us to what might be the most important part of this whole equation, the human element, the part that AI can't touch. Emotional intelligence.
This is the bright, inviolable line. We've established AI is brilliant at logic, at data, at patterns, but the sources are absolutely insistent. AI can simulate empathy, but it cannot feel it.
It doesn't have the internal experience.
It has no qualia, as the philosophers would say. It has no self-awareness, no life story, no fear of death, no joy of connection. It's processing data about human emotion. It's not experiencing it.
Which means that the uniquely human qualities,
Yeah.
they don't just survive this transition, they become exponentially more valuable.
They become the new premium. We're talking about compassion, moral reasoning, intuition that's been honed by decades of lived experience, forgiveness, courage, spiritual insight. These are the things that cannot be automated.
So when logical analysis becomes a commodity, which it is, then human wisdom and moral depth become the ultimate market differentiators.
That's what will define leadership. It leads directly to this new formula for the future, the definition of hybrid intelligence. It's not one or the other, it's the synergy of the two.
So the formula is AI-powered logic.
Plus human emotional wisdom. That combination is what's going to drive innovation and leadership in every single field from now on.
Let's double-click on creativity for a moment because it's such a hot-button issue. You said the human provides the soul, so the AI handles the brainstorming, the prototyping.
The heavy lifting of the process, yes. It generates concepts, explores styles, does the first pass editing, all the computationally intensive parts of the creative workflow.
While the human provides the meaning, the originality that comes from a unique life experience, the cultural depth, the emotional resonance, the moral core of the work.
Absolutely. And the creative product that comes from that partnership machine complexity, guided by human purpose, is it's superior. It's faster and more novel than what either could do alone. The human is elevated from a craftsman to a true visionary director.
Okay, but as powerful as this is, we have to talk about the dark side. We have to dedicate real time to the risks. The research makes this stark point. Irresponsible use can actively weaken the mind. That's the paradox.
What's fascinating here is we must manage these risks consciously. It's not something that just happens. If we don't apply self-discipline, if we don't maintain a critical distance, we could end up with a kind of mental atrophy.
So the book breaks down 5 specific cognitive risks. Let's go through them. The first and most immediate is reduced critical thinking.
And this is so insidious. If the AI becomes the ultimate oracle, the source of all knowledge, and it delivers these instant, confident, flawless-sounding answers, what happens to our impulse to question?
You stop doubting. You stop pushing back.
You stop doing the hard work of inquiry. Critical thinking isn't about getting the answer. It's the process of wrestling with conflicting sources, weighing evidence, looking for fallacies. It's a struggle.
And if we delegate that struggle purely for the sake of efficiency,
The muscle gets weak. We just accept the answer because the machine gave it to us instead of vetting it ourselves. We become passive recipients of information, not active researchers.
which is tied directly to the second risk, weakened memory. This is the Google effect on steroids, isn't it?
It is. The well-documented finding that we don't remember information, we know we can easily look up later. If we rely on AI for every fact, every date, every reminder, the brain stops training itself to form strong memories.
Because memory formation is hard work. It physically changes our neural pathways.
And if the brain knows that perfect recall is always just a query away,
Yeah.
it naturally starts to outsource that function. It just doesn't bother.
And the long-term danger there is we lose our ability to make those quick, intuitive connections in our own minds because we haven't stored the raw data to connect.
We'd always have to stop and look it up. Our ability for high-level real-time synthesis could really suffer. We become dependent on the external archive.
Okay, the third risk. This one scares me a little. Shallow thinking.
This is a risk of substitution. Getting a quick AI summary is incredibly efficient for surface-level productivity, no doubt. But it actively discourages the slow, reflective, complex thought that's necessary for real depth.
You're talking about System 1 versus System 2 thinking.
Exactly. Daniel Kahneman's work. System 1 is fast, intuitive, efficient. System 2 is slow, analytical, and takes a lot of effort. AI is the ultimate System 1 tool.
And deep understanding, true wisdom, that only comes from System 2.
It requires boredom. It requires ambiguity. It requires struggling with a problem for days or weeks. If we get used to the instant summary, the 5 bullet points, we are actively training our minds away from the difficult, deep processing that creates wisdom. We trade depth for speed.
Okay, risk number 4 feels more social. Emotional disconnection.
This happens when we start turning to AI models, like a therapy chatbot for comfort, or to solve problems that really require messy human interaction.
Because the AI is easier, it's cleaner, it doesn't argue back.
It's the path of least resistance. But if we use AI as a substitute for real human connection, especially the difficult parts, we can reduce our own emotional resilience. We lose our ability to navigate the necessary friction of relationships.
We become intellectually sharp, but emotionally fragile.
That's a great way to put it. And the final risk is the loss of patience, which seems to undergird all the others.
When you can get any answer instantly, waiting for anything becomes torture.
Exactly. Instant access is rewiring our brain's tolerance levels. We start to expect the entire world to operate at the speed of the machine.
And things that are inherently slow, long-term projects, deep learning, building a relationship, they become frustrating. We might give up on them too early.
Because they don't provide that instant feedback loop we've become addicted to. So managing these risks is crucial. But if we do, the psychological upsides, the positive changes to the brain, are just as profound.
Right, let's flip to the positive side now. How does a well-managed AI partnership actually change the brain for the better?
Well, one of the clearest benefits is our ability to handle more complexity, to multitask more effectively, because the AI is handling all that background logistical work.
The scheduling, the summarizing, the data gathering.
Right. The human mind is suddenly free to juggle a much greater number of high-level strategic ideas at once without feeling completely overwhelmed. You become a better mental conductor of a much larger orchestra.
And our pattern recognition gets better, faster.
Yes, because the AI exposes you to an exponentially larger volume of examples and data, all perfectly structured. Your brain gets trained to spot the signal in the noise much more efficiently because it's seen the machine filter it out a million times before.
And you mentioned curiosity. Removing the friction of finding information actually makes us more curious.
It's a huge psychological benefit. When the answer to your first question is easy to get, it just encourages you to ask the next, more complex question. It fuels this cycle of inquiry. You're more willing to go down those conceptual rabbit holes.
There's also this idea that AI raises the bar for our own work.
It creates a new quality benchmark. When you're constantly working with an AI-drafted report that's perfectly clear or a design prototype that's incredibly detailed, that becomes your new normal. It raises your own expectations for clarity and rigor in your own output.
And the foundation for all of this, the final benefit, is just a reduction in stress.
A profound reduction in cognitive stress. By automating all those demanding, frustrating, time-consuming tasks, the AI lowers our overall cognitive load. It removes the anxiety that comes from inefficiency and information overload.
Which leads to a more confident, more focused, and ultimately more capable human mind.
One that is ready to tackle the big strategic challenges.
So all of this brings us back to that word you used at the start, evolution. The consensus in the research is crystal clear. We cannot win a computational race against machines. It's foolish to even try.
So we have to evolve. We have to lean into what makes us uniquely human. We have to intentionally double down on our innate excellences.
Empathy, ethics, leadership, persuasion.
Wisdom, imagination, courage, moral judgment, faith. The future belongs only to those who can combine these irreplaceable human qualities with a mastery of the AI tools.
Which means our entire education system needs a reboot. Immediately. We can't keep prioritizing memorization and repetition. That's training kids for a world that doesn't exist anymore.
That curriculum is actively harming them now. The new focus has to be on skills that leverage the AI partner. Deep critical thinking, ethical reasoning, creativity, logic, digital literacy.
And the big one, AI mastery. Not just how to use the tool, but how to prompt it, how to verify its output, how to analyze it critically.
And that technical skill has to be balanced with an even greater emphasis on the human skills. Emotional intelligence, teamwork, complex problem-solving, moral development. We have to teach kids how to think with AI, not fight against it.
So this is the new standard, the hybrid mind. The successful person of the future will have AI-enhanced memory, creativity, and decision-making. Their productivity will be amplified.
And this is the most critical piece. All of that power has to be anchored in strong emotional and moral foundations. That's the only thing that ensures this immense power is used for good.
So we've been on an incredible journey here into the very architecture of our own minds. And I think the final takeaway, the synthesis, is clear. AI is not going to replace the human mind.
It's going to redesign it.
It's redesigning it right now, making it faster, more curious, more capable than it has ever been. So what does this all mean for you listening right now? It means that augmentation requires responsibility.
And that responsibility is not optional. It is the price of admission to this new era. It means self-discipline. It means balanced use. It means having strong personal ethics and staying grounded in your own humanity. If we do that, we get to participate in the next great frontier of human evolution.
But, and we have to end here, this immense power to redesign ourselves comes with an equally immense shadow. The source material leaves us on a cliffhanger, a provocative thought we have to leave you with.
While we've focused on all the personal benefits, the cognitive enhancement, we now have to confront the societal risks. The next major global concern is the intentional misuse of this technology.
Misinformation, deepfakes, the dark side of AI.
The weaponization of generative AI. If our individual minds are being redesigned for speed and power, the final urgent question is, how does society as a whole build the defenses to protect itself from large-scale, deliberate deception powered by these same tools? That is the challenge that the new hybrid mind must now face.